Hello students! Welcome to ICT 8 4th Quarter Week 7 and 8. Computer Hardware Servicing. I am Laramie Situtuan and I will be your teacher for today. Our topic for today is all about maintain occupational health and safety regulation. What is 5S? The 5S are Japanese words that start with letter S. But in the Philippines, some know of 5 English words that all begin with letter S, which is equivalent to Japanese words. It is therefore necessary to remember the Japanese 5 S's. What is important aside from retaining this into our mind is to make it part of our daily habit. Below are the 5S and their English equivalent. 5S's is not simply a list of action items, it is an integrated concept of action, condition, and culture. The nature and implication of each S needs to be understood as follows. Number 1. Cherry or sort is an action to identify and eliminate all unnecessary items from your workplace. Number 2. Sieton or systematize is an action to put every necessary items in good order. Number 3. Shesu or sweep is an action to clean your workplace thoroughly. Number 4. Shiketsu or sanitize is a condition where high standard of good housekeeping is maintained so that there is no dust and rust anywhere. And lastly, number 5, the SHITSUKE or self-discipline is a condition where all members practice accordingly. It is a culture. How to practice 5S's. Number 1, cherry or sort means take out unnecessary items and dispose. Step number 1, look around your workplace. Discover and identify items which are unnecessary to your work. Then, dispose all unnecessary items. Never keep anything which is unnecessary to your work. Step number 2, if you cannot decide whether an item is necessary or not, put disposable notice with the data on the item and set item aside. Step number 3, after a period, say 2 months, check if someone has the item or not. If no one needed the item, that means the item is not needed for your work. And note, disposal can be done in either of the following ways. Number 1, sell it to outside of the workplace. Number 2, move to other department or section where the item is needed. Number 3, throw it away or dispose as garbage. Number 4, in disposing the belongings, it is better to make people know how has the authority for disposal. Number 5, it is also better to make people know where to return excessive stock of materials and supplies. Number 6, while looking around your unnecessary items in your workplace, look at every nook like when you are looking for cockroaches. It will be a bonus to you if you find some useful items. Number 2, Sheton or systematize means arrange necessary items in good order to use. Step number 1, make sure that all unnecessary items are eliminated from your workplace. Step number 2, decide with your workmates which things to put when taking into account the flow of your work. The principle is to put most frequently needed items close to the user so as to minimize the movement of the person. Things which are not so often used could not be placed slightly further away. Step number 3, it is necessary to make sure that everyone at your workplace knows what is kept for efficient use. Make a list of things with location and put it in a locker or cabinet. Label each drawer or cabinet to show what is kept inside. Note, the object of Sheton or systematize is to make your workplace a safe and efficient place to work in. Number 3. SHITSUKE or SWEP means clean your workplace. There is a very strong correlation between quality of products and cleanliness of the workplace where products are manufactured. Accordingly, SHITSUKE or SWEP should be practiced every day, and sometimes even during the day. The following are suggested for your SHITSUKE or SWEP operation. First, do not wait until things get dirty. Clean your workplace, including machines, equipment, tools, and furniture regularly so that they do not have a chance to get dirty. Second, put things inside for 3 minutes every day. Third, you and your workmates should be responsible for the dirty works around you. The janitors or sweepers will look after the common areas only. Fourth, never throw anything and make it your habit. And lastly, clean is also checking. Number 4. SHITSUKE or sanitize means maintain high standard of housekeeping. So as not to waste your effort, do not stop after implementing initial 3 S's. The following are suggested for your SHITSUKE or sanitize operation. First, create a maintenance system or housekeeping. Make a schedule of cleaning for your workplace. Second, interdepartmental competition is a very effective means of sustaining and enhancing people's interest on 5 S's. Note: Number 1. Indicate the names of the persons responsible for the work area and for the machine. Number 2. Regular inspection and evaluation on the level of 4 S's by each work are necessary. Number 3. Do not criticize poor cases, but also praise and commend good practices or good performances. Number 5. SHITSUKE or self-discipline means do things spontaneously without being told or ordered. It is to make everyone practice 4 S's spontaneously and willingly as habit or way of life. There is no other way to foster such culture than practicing 4 S's regularly until such time when everyone becomes fond of 5 S's. To help such corporate culture conducive to 5 S's, the following need to be emphasized. First, treat your workplace as your own home. Second, you are spending most of your waking time at your workplace than at home. Third, your workplace is an important place where to make income for yourself and your family. And fourth, make your workplace as clean and comfortable as your home. Note: in enhancing SHITSUKE or self-discipline of workers in a workplace, the rules of management are very important. People with managerial duties should be worthy of respect and emulation. Operational health and safety procedure, practices and regulations in the Philippines. The Occupational Safety and Health Standards was formulated in 1978 in compliance with the constitutional mandate of safeguard and workers' social and economic well-being as well as his physical safety and health. Adopted through the test democratic machinery of tripartism, the 1978 standards is considered as a landmark in Philippine labor and social legislation. The advent of industrialization and the continuing introduction of technological innovations in our country today have, however, correspondingly increased the number and types of occupational hazards that our workers are exposed to. Viewed against this backdrop, it became imperative that the standards be revised to make it truly responsive to the workers' needs. Emergency-related drills and training in the Philippines. The Philippine Disaster Management Program has a broad scope covering disaster preparedness, organization and training, construction of disaster reduction facilities, disaster response and rehabilitation, public information, and research and development. Disaster preparedness is an essential element of the disaster management program. Disaster management plans of key agencies and organizations have been prepared, reviewed, and updated. These plans are properly documented and are regularly tested for continuing relevance. Organizations and training are continuing disaster preparedness tasks which are performed by various disaster coordinating councils. Over the past few years, various emergency services necessary during disaster have been developed in all the region and provinces. Designated organizations have been oriented in their various roles in the disaster management. Local chief executives, particularly those elected to their post for the first time, have been provided training on disaster management to equip them effectively lead their local disaster coordinating councils. Specialized skills in search and rescue, evacuation, disaster medicine, vulnerability analysis, damage assessment, and first aid have been widely undertaken. In 1995 alone, 159 training sessions on various aspects of disaster management have been conducted all over the country. The Philippines conducted 103 drills were conducted in 1998 alone. Other disaster preparedness measures have also been undertaken, such as disaster drills and exercises, and establishment of disaster management operations centers. Disasters management operations centers have been established with capabilities of a wide range of emergency services, which include rescue, evacuation, emergency housing, and relief services. Since the knowledge base of disaster management remains inadequate, the Philippines has also included research and development in disaster reduction techniques as part of its National Disaster Management Program. Current priorities in this area include meteorological and hydrological disaster researches being conducted by the Philippine Weather Bureau or PAGASA, such as the tropical cyclone research on typhoon movement prediction, typhoon surface structure research, typhoon formations and intensification research, and meteorological and hydrological hazard assessment. The Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology, or PHIVOLCS, is also conducting studies on the seismicity of Luzon and Visayas Islands, as well as the volcanic hazards of Mindanao Island. Hereunder are some of the programs, projects, activities which PAGASA and PHIVOLCS undertake related to national disaster reduction. PAGASA. Number 1. Special Tropical Cyclone Reconnaissance Information, Dissemination, and Damage Evaluation, or STRIFE, a quick response team or QRT to conduct in-the-spot investigation in areas affected by landfilling, TCs, tornadoes, storm surges, and etc. Number 2. Provision of farm weather forecast and warning services provides weather information related to plant growth, development, and farming operations, including livestock and crop production. Number 3. Information and Education Campaign, or IEC, Program for Natural Disaster Reduction. Include the level of awareness or preparedness of people on natural hazard and disaster through the development of high-tech audiovisual and multimedia technology. Conduct seminars or workshops, lectures, and trainings throughout the country. PHIVOLCS. Number 1. Volcanic hazards identification and mapping identify. Catalog and characterize activities and potentially active volcanoes. Number 2. Hazardous volcanic product and process. To map extent of emplacement, thickness of deposition, stratigraphy, and source vent to the hazardous volcanic products, which may give an overview of the anticipated hazard and risk from future eruption episodes. Number 3. National Lahar Mapping Program. This involves mapping out the possible extent of emplacement and distribution of lahar deposits from past explosive eruption. The ultimate aim of this program is to generate lahar hazard maps for selected active volcanoes, which shall identify possible routes and areas that can be effective during a particular lahar flow incidents. Number 4. Disaster response in the Philippines is truly a multi-sectoral and mass-based endeavor. A major contingent to the disaster management structure is composed of civic organization, non-government organization, people's organizations, and all forms of religious and social voluntary groupings. Partly because of their democratic political experience, the high public awareness of the destructiveness of disaster, and partly because the institutional framework of disaster management has encouraged it, people participation of the Filipino people in disaster response is very broad, sustained, enthusiastic, organized, and ultimately decisive. Safety drills. A safety drill is a drill that is practiced to prepare people for an emergency. Fire drill is a method of practicing how a building would be evacuated in the event of a fire or other emergency. The Blue Angels and other military aircraft will present a flyover at the American Secondary School Colleges and Universities or OUSD Job Training Centers, the Primary School, Santa Fe School Recreational Centers for these drills. Usually, the building's existing fire alarm system is activated and the building is evacuated as if emergency had occurred. Generally, the time it takes to evacuate is measured to ensure that it occurs within a responsible length of time. And problems with the emergency system or evacuate procedures are identified to be remedied. Tornado drill is a procedure of practicing to take cover in a specified location in the event that a tornado strikes an area. This safety drill is an important element of tornado preparedness. Generally, a signal is given, such as a series of tones, example, continuous tone, or a voice announcement. Upon receiving the signal, building occupants of schools, hospitals, factories, shopping centers, and etc. proceed to a designated location, usually an interior room or corridor with no windows, and assume a protection position. Lockdown drills are means of practicing preparedness in a business in the event of an intruder or criminal act. Generally, an announcement is given that the building is going on an immediate lockdown. At that point, all occupants present at the time of the drill go to a room and lock all doors and windows tight. They must remain still until all clear signal has been issued. If the emergency is really life-threatening, then occupants present at the time of the emergency will evacuate to a meeting zone well away from the premises or scene of the emergency. Earthquake drill is a drill used to practice in preparation for an earthquake. Schools in some areas conduct earthquake drills. Stop, drop, and hold on is used during the drill. School Safety Preparedness Drill, or SSPD, is an annual earthquake preparedness drill being organized in schools of North and Northeastern states of India, commemorating 4 April 1905 Kangra earthquake. Okay, so that's the end of our lesson for today. So for your activities and tests, just visit our GAITF link, gaitf.sims.school/lcms. Again, GAITF, that seems, that school / Thank you for watching!